mode.
Oh, stop. Maybe you have to stop that.
Never mind, I will turn off the recording.
Okay, now it is on. I can share screen. I see.
But can you turn off your so-called, let's turn off your security and privacy. You need to open your PowerPoint first.
Okay, let's. You can see my PowerPoint.
Yes.
Yes, I can see your PowerPoint. Fine. Two options. If you put a slideshow, can you put a slideshow?
Okay. So maybe today they cannot see my face.
If your camera cannot do that, then maybe okay. Is this your first page, right? Can you click for? Should you move
Okay,
to
I
the
think
next
the
one?
next all can move, right? Y'all can see my screen. I think they can move.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably accept and you cannot see you. So all right. So how to handle that? Panelists, do you have your handphone which you can access through handphone? Just leave your slide here. Can you access through handphone as well? At least people can see you for a while.
People need to see him.
Yeah, of course, you are the main players in this webinar.
How can the key person cannot be seen?
Yeah, you can just say that there's some cross-border problem from Singapore that I also don't understand. I don't have a meeting with, problems with other.
Let's try whether you can access through your handphone and then you can pass it.
One, go.
Hi,
Let's
good
go.
morning, everyone. This is welcome to the MEPN Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus webinar session. This is our webinar session throughout the MCO. So I'm Mazlina. I'm the program manager for Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus from Malaysia Productivity Corporation. So basically, the MEPN is set up as one of the 9 productivity nexus under the Malaysia Productivity Blueprint introduced in May 2017. The main purpose of the productivity nexus is to drive the implementation of the initiative under the close partnership within the governments. Machinery and Engineering Industries Federation has been tasked as a champion to help on behalf of the machinery and equipment industries. So before we proceed, actually we have having the difficulties, technical difficulties. We can't able to show the video for our presenter, Dr. Tan. So we would like to apologize to all of the attendees. We can for the attendees today. So with me today, we also have our moderator, Ms. Teh Sook Lin, and our speaker, Dr. Tan Ming. Mr. Teh is from the SHRDC, and then Mr. Tan will deliver the titles today on the achieving and optimized process through data-driven strategies. So without any delays, I will pass to our moderator to moderate the session. Okay, please welcome Ms. Teh.
Thank you, Dr. Mazlina. Ladies and gentlemen, by definition, process optimization is a discipline of adjusting a process so as to optimize and make the most effective use of specific set of parameters without violating any constraints. In other words, it is about taking a process, identify where that process is lacking, making necessary improvements so that the process is improved in the way you intended to meet a defined goal. So, but technology and connectivity, with technology and connectivity, we can now reach a new height. That's why today we have Dr. Tan Ming to share with us on a topic about achieving an optimized process through data-driven strategies. So good morning again. My name is Sook Ling. I'm from Selangor Human Resource Development Center. I'm a moderator today. On behalf of MEPN, I would like to welcome all of you to the MEPN webinar series. A quick housekeeping reminder before we begin. Your audio and video capabilities will be disabled during this session. So please post your question in the Q&A box. I will collate all questions for the speaker to answer after his presentation. Okay, to begin this program, we are pleased to introduce the speaker today, Dr. Tan Ming. Dr. Tan is a senior consultant of Sunshine Solutions. He's a people-oriented leader with 25 years experience in manufacturing environment, managing in Malaysia, China, Singapore, and in Thailand. He introduced Industry 4.0 basic concept in everyday work to improve efficiency and speed of learning. He built a robust AI program in factory by converting each engineer's experience into algorithms. He is a database designer. His other specialties includes contamination analysis and also root cause analysis methodologies. Dr. Tan is also consulting for SHRDC now. So this morning, Dr. Tan will share about achieving an optimized process through data-driven strategies. So without further ado, I would like to pass the screen to Dr. Tan. Unfortunately, we can't see his face. He has problem with his webcam, but he's able to show his presentation slides. Dr. Tan, to you, please.
Okay, thank you, Sook Ling. Okay, greetings from Singapore. Yeah, I apologize again that I cannot show my face on the screen. But if you can stare at my screen now, this is how I look like. I think it's an advantage since if you cannot see me live, you can focus more on the slides. The timing of today's presentation cannot be better. You have heard Dr. Chua spoke 2 weeks ago, achieving a smart factory with Industry 4 elements. If you miss it, you can access it through the SHRDC website, which is on this slide. Last week, you have heard Mr. Richard and Mr. Aziz taking one step back to first. First, you recognize your ways in your businesses and processes through lean understanding, and then use Industry 4 tools to address them. During MCO, all of us are doing exercise at home. Lean is not about your weight loss, but in the business standpoint, it is similar to weight loss. The contents I'm going to cover today will be the following. Gain insights to an efficient business process in today's digital world, followed by process optimization using data-driven methods to achieve lean. And last but not least, develop your Industry 4 roadmap. The world economy has been greatly impacted, but this global COVID-19 pandemic, we are seeing more blue skies in China, and we are seeing more hatchings of leatherback turtles in Thailand. Air pollution has come down significantly in many countries. With less human activities, nature has flourished. But from our experience of past pandemics, experts warn that this positive effect on the environment is only temporary. What happens when this global lockdown measure is lifted? However, one area that will have permanent effect from the global stay at home is the expanding digital way of life. Let's take the biggest digital change in our life. All of us are affected by this, our children home-based learning. In Malaysia, it is called e-pembelajaran dan pemudajaraan. I will tell you why this is an efficient business process. The child wakes up at 6 a.m. Yeah, most of our children wakes up about that time. Some are even worse. He takes a bath and brushes his teeth. He grabs a simple breakfast and then changes into his uniform. He carries his heavy school bag. His father hurries him into the car and to leave early to beat the morning jam. I think this is familiar to all the big cities like KL, Ipoh, and Penang. The trip to school takes 30 minutes, and it's common that he will reach early and then chat with his friend while waiting for the school to begin. School activities stretch from 7:40 all the way to 1:30 p.m. When school ends, it takes 15 minutes to walk to the nearest bus stop. Father is working and won't be able to take him home. He waits 15 minutes for the bus. Bus comes at 2, and the ride takes 45 minutes. He walks another 15 minutes from the bus stop to home, reaches home at 3, takes his lunch. Let's now look at a scenario for home-based learning. Again, it is called EPDPC in Malaysia. The child wakes up at 7 a.m. He gets to sleep 1 more hour. How many parents would appreciate that? I appreciate that. He has slightly more time to enjoy his breakfast. He changes into his PE clothes, not school clothes. No heavy school bag to carry. Sits down, turn on the computer, and interact with the teachers in the online lessons. Online lessons end a bit earlier at 1 p.m. It could be that there are less movement between classes. Eat his lunch at 1:10 p.m. and watches movie for 30 minutes. What about the teachers? On the teachers' part, once digital collaboration starts to take place, you'll be surprised that talent sharing starts to happen. Imagine the best teaching material is recorded and shared to all classes or even to other schools. A weak student can learn at his own pace by reviewing the recorded video. Many times we forgot that our video has already been recorded. It has been digitized. We can also reach out to more with online learning. Even with you sitting in front of your computer now is an evidence this is happening around the world in school education and adult learning. Now look at this. Okay, sorry, I have a technical problem here. Give me a second. Okay, now look at this all from the lean manufacturing standpoint. To some of you who are new to lean, there are 8 types of waste in manufacturing. In fact, today, we know all kinds of waste, but we must talk in the sense of manufacturing. Waste due to defects, producing too much, and our favorite is waiting. Everywhere we are waiting, right? Waiting for this, waiting for that. The boss is waiting for you, we are waiting for our kids. There's too much waiting. Unused talent. Right? We always complain to boss, you don't really appreciate me, unused talent. Transportation, this one, we don't have to make it clear to people who are trapped in the jams in Malaysia or any parts of the world. Excess inventory, too much motion and over-processing. So in home-based learning, what are the waste? In fact, in home-based learning, it reduces every type of waste, but I will only take the obvious. Reduce waste on transportation, right? We are driving less on the road now, or we don't have to ferry our kids to school. Reduce waste of waiting. Reduce waste of unused talent. Remember earlier I said, now we can share the best material among classes. Imagine Harvard now sharing material with our local school, right? Which is already happening. And very important, reduce defects. So you might ask me the question, what do you mean defects? Is there any defects in the school wall, the school building? No. Defects. This refer to our most precious commodity, our children, right? We don't want them to fail. So with this online learning, the child can learn at his own pace, right? This is the best part. We can rewind the video. If you have missed that material, you can rewind and you can learn at your own pace. I have seen that many times. In fact, it failed to surprise me each time. Data-driven methods to improve efficiency. What are the methods that we are using? Oh, I forgot that there's also too much motion. The data-driven methods is simply knowing you can digitize almost anything. You can digitize text, picture, audio, video. I think some of teachers are conducting PE using video. And then once digitized, it is kept, it is a digital content. You can transmit anywhere to anyone. So again, this is your page, how you reduce your waste in terms of manufacturing standpoint, and what are the data-driven methods that you're using. But honestly, I heard many complaints too from teachers. I'm quite sure some of you are watching this video now might say, Dr. Tan, you don't know anything. We are suffering in this online learning. Internet connectivity has been poor in certain places. Right? The famous saying from our kids is, Cikgu, kadang-kadang ada, kadang-kadang tak ada. Right? I mean, the internet is not reliable. It can be frustrating for anyone who wants to work from home. I experienced that in some parts of Malaysia and some parts of the world. The next problem is we cannot expect every home to have a computer for each person above 5 years old, even in wealthy homes. In the same way to business owners and SME, your road to Industry 4 starts here. You cannot oversee this problem. You cannot lose sight of this problem. You need to provide internet connectivity to your key employees and ensure your company has enough computing resources. This was one of the questions asked to Dr. Chua a few weeks back about level 0. So I can tell you this is the 0 of level 0, but it's extremely important. Right? Internet connectivity and sufficient computing resources. Okay, I want to make this meeting a bit interactive. So I invite all of you who are watching this video right now to take a polling. If you scan this, you can take a polling. I will switch to my polling screen right now. Are you satisfied with your internet connectivity? So right now you can just enter. I'll give some time to some of those who are going to come in. So you can just press.
Dr. Tan?
Yes, Ling.
You may want to go back to the QR code again. I think it's too fast.
Yes. Thank you, Ling. Some of you didn't have chance to scan this. So if you scan this, you can take the poll. Thank you, Ling, for reminding me. Okay, let's get back to our I'll just give maybe 10 more seconds for some polling to come back. This is just like a horse race, right? So it's quite surprising, and some of you are probably sitting at home and still having unsatisfactory, insatisfactory internet connectivity. So again, the no is going up. Okay, probably we'll stop the poll here for the sake of time and move to the next question. So some of you who didn't take this poll, you can continue to take this poll here. This will be very special. It's for your reflection, right? It's for all of you in the audience to reflect. What cannot be digitized? What cannot be a digital content? Angry face? Instructions? How to make your own burger? And how to make a Cambodian salad? Yeah, I think to most teachers, they would have chosen the angry face. But think properly. Right? As I mentioned earlier, you can digitize almost anything. To some of you who missed the polling earlier, you can still scan this with your phone and take part in the polling. During the MCO, I think one of our favorite pastime would definitely be eating. So I can see that none of you choose how to make your own burger and how to make Cambodian salad. I think most of you would be inclined to choose the angry face. But if you think properly, I'll continue to explain while this poll is happening. If you think completely, can you catch an angry face? Obviously can. Can you catch his audio? Yeah. If your kid is angry and he's shouting at you, you actually can share that to your sister or to your parents, right? That means we can show the grandchild's angry face to the grandparents. So theoretically, if you think about it, you can show an angry face. In fact, the answer from here that I would like you all to think again, the answer is how to make a Cambodian salad. So sometimes you might ask me, well, I can watch YouTube and know how to make a Cambodian salad, right? Right, but it's wrong. Before you can make a Cambodian salad, I will ask you this question. Have you eaten before a Cambodian salad? How can you make a Cambodian salad if you haven't eaten one? How can I make a special salad made in Peru if I've not tasted it? So I won't know how do I achieve it. Okay, so again, you can think almost everything can be digitized, but there is a certain area where you need some physical presence to combine with digital content. Like today, I can make any kind of Thai food because I've tasted it. Okay, I'll get back to my presentation. Thank you again for taking part in the polling. Okay, let you all switch back to your screen here if you are accessing from your phone. Okay, the second example I'm going to share is process optimization. That's what you are here today. This is a real situation where a company managed to improve the efficiency of the root cause analysis. When a product is not working, it will be shipped back to the manufacturer. Each day, a technician will analyze 4 to 6 units. Each technician will be in charge of one product. A different color rectangle represents a different product in this picture. The company designs a smart product. Again, this is a real situation, but I won't give names of the companies and the exact details. The company designs a smart product with digital sensors built in. In scenario 1, technician will run through a series of investigation by using data from the sensors. Each investigation is like a question. If you suspect this symptom, you do analysis A. And if you confirm it, you proceed with B. If it's still not sufficient, you do analysis C. After getting sufficient information, the technician will conclude what is the cause of failure. But in scenario 2, there will be cases there is no suitable sensors in the product to provide information. There are many things that today's sensor is not ready. Like if I want to sense copper particles, I cannot get any sensor that effectively sense copper particle, but I can use a particle counter. So in this case, the technician will then run some external tests on the product. However, similar series of investigation will be carried out to get to root cause. So you recall earlier that the technician has a decision flow in his investigation. We call this a decision algorithm. In scenario 1, the technician can make his decision from data provided by the product digital sensors. The sensors record information when customer is using the product. Some of your products like your computers and your smart watches, they have this sensor that knows what you are doing. So when we send it back to the repair center, they start to take all this data. So examples are pressure sensor, temperature sensor, and movement sensor. So with that, the technician reads and then he can conclude the root cause. This is the important part. What if we take all the decision algorithm from every technician, from every product, and combine them into a decision tree? It is called a decision tree because the network of decisions look like a tree. We then convert the decision tree into a program. Today is quite simple. Many programmers can do that by automated. Probably if you learn it for less than an hour, you might be able to do it. Then put the program in a server so it becomes like a brain, right? We call it a cloud AI. So any employee from around the world now can extract the sensor data and can use this AI to get the root cause. Right, so we are transferring the know-how of each technician into a virtual. That means you feel as if the technician is in front of you, right? Because we already transferred his know-how into a program. So collection centers from all over the world can extract the sensor data and run through the AI to know the product failure root cause. The benefits, we only need to ship less than 20% product to the factory for investigation. Remember earlier I said that they are not all failures that have certain sensors, but in this company experience, more than 80% have the sensor that will tell them what are the failures, probable root cause. So the overall waiting time for investigation from more than 7 days has reduced to 1 day for those who analyze by AI. In fact, this is happening today. In many of the customers in China, even the customer interface team cannot go to the customers. So they are getting all this information and then processing through AI and passing it back to customers. So the customers from 7 days, eliminating transport, eliminating waiting time, they can analyze in less than a day. But just one thing I would like to you all to take note. The investigation information is still needed to be stored in a database. Earlier, I mentioned that we have certain cases where there are no sensors. So with this information stored, they will continue to have an improvement, designing new sensors and new algorithms. So that's why in many of the Industry 4 lectures, you always hear about database. Okay, now let's look back at this lean waste that we are reducing. Obviously, from more than 7 days down to 1 day waiting time, right? I think today all of us appreciate that when our passport, we can get it within few hours. Transportation, yeah, nobody likes to be trapped in a jam. You want something that you order online to be issued immediately, but in this case, there's no transportation. They can do it. The whole thing can be digitized and can be processed. Unused talent. Earlier in home-based learning, we talked about teachers sharing among each other. But again here, this is very critical. You can see this unused talent coming up again and again. We are using the brain of everyone and put into one big collaboration. It becomes an AI. So the data-driven methods or the digital methods is you identify the data that helps you make decisions, and then you automate your decision flow. Okay, next we go to developing your Industry 4 roadmap. Some of you, this will be the first time you hear about Industry 4. But I have one slide to give you a 1-minute refresher or a 1-minute course. The 4th Industrial Revolution. A lot of experts say today we are in the 4th Industrial Revolution. The funny thing is that we have not even passed through the third industrial revolution as a historical standpoint. But because it's moving so fast, all the experts are calling it fourth industrial revolution. The first time we heard about cloud is about 2006, when Amazon introduced cloud storage. Right? Today, cloud is just when you use your phone, you send something, it goes to the cloud. Intel processing become faster with the famous i5. Today, most of your computers probably are using i7, and that was back in 2007. Yeah, this is a hooray for everyone. Probably everyone in this room is using a WhatsApp. Do you know that it was introduced in 2009? That is why we can keep on sending fake news. iPhone 4G or the 4G is introduced into the world in 2010. Camera sales started declining in 2010. Why is this so important? Right, today, how many of us will bring along our heavy SLR? Hardly anybody does that, right? Our phone has high definition. We can take many pictures and send. Right? Take pictures and send. And then we explore, we found out that we can use all this technology for more application. WeChat payment become a world famous application. Even Microsoft admitted that China is ahead in WeChat payment. It was launched in 2013. Wi-Fi today is so fast, in many places it's free. So take note, this is not a very exact value, but normally we would say above 100 megabit per second is something that you need to do a decent work. Industry 4 was presented in 2013 by the Germans. Do you know that there's a difference between Industry 4 and the fourth industrial revolution? Fourth industrial revolution is a historical event. In fact, we shouldn't be talking about it. Maybe our grandchildren, 60 years later, they will talk about our fourth industrial revolution. Industry 4 is a concept that the German proposed, but they are very closely linked. By 2015, the hard disk has 10 terabyte, and today the servers have hundreds of hard disks inside the servers. So even one 10 terabyte probably can keep the entire library. So why should you always go to the library? And in this home-based study, if all of you are buying online, you probably get this computer. You probably want to buy a computer with SSD, and not a hard disk. It is lighter, it is faster. And the SSD has overtaken the hard disk by 39%. Has reached 39% in 2017. Okay, the interesting part is COVID-19 is year 2020. You are using all this technology. COVID-19 has enhanced all this without you even knowing it. And SARS was in 2003. So that's why sometimes when experts compare the data, it's not an apple-to-apple comparison. How much information can we accumulate during SARS compared to COVID-19? So the digital world is ready for you. Are you ready for it? You got to put on a lens and look at this whole thing. So develop your Industry 4 roadmap through this step-by-step approach. Acquire strong internet connectivity and sufficient computing resources. Looks very simple, but it is the fundamental. You cannot move on. You cannot build your staircase without this. And expand your mind. Many things can be digitized, right? But you cannot tell a person how a Cambodian salad tastes like. You need to take the food and let him taste it. But once you digitize your content, it can be transmitted. That's a beautiful thing. It can be kept. Our children can learn at their own pace. Our children can learn at their own pace. Reduce your process waste, but now you use the data-driven mindset. Mr. Raymond and Mr. Aziz are experts in lean manufacturing, but today you put on another hat and use a data-driven mindset and say, how do you achieve the lean? Let's take one example. If you reach step 3, this is quite close to what Grab is doing. I want to take a taxi immediately. I made a decision, I want to take a taxi, where to wait for a taxi, so I know where to wait. The taxi driver wants to know where are the passengers. So there is a signal for them to know, and we go to the waiting point. And the decision is straightforward. The data that we need can be extracted. Let's take a further steps towards Industry 4. Online collaboration. One thing I cannot emphasize here because of the lack of time is a simple word called sharing. Today you will realize that collaboration is a more technical word, is very critical. I get a lot of information free, so I give a lot of information free back to the society. The whole society improves. The same way for online home-based study, EPDPC, and the same thing in your company. Remember just now I talked about algorithm from each engineer. In fact, I have that problem when my engineers or my technicians in China refuse to share, and my technicians in Malaysia refuse to share. And then we cannot contribute to the entire decision algorithm. Once they share, it's so powerful. I'm using hundreds of brains to derive a decision algorithm. I create a decision tree for your complex process. It's a very simple decision process. But if you combine everybody's decision, you can do wonders. And then once you have that, then you will go to what Dr. Chua has presented, your smart factory. So you can see that you can be already profitable for the SME. You can already be profitable each step you take up the steps. You don't really need to reach this step. But some of you might be starting with this step and going downwards, right? Add digital sensors and start the automation. You are the process, you are the business owner, you are the process owner. We need to make a living, right? So these are the steps towards Industry 4. Okay, here you get to see my face again. This is the end of my presentation. Sook Ling, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Chua. Dr. Tan, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Tan, for an interesting sharing. I think you gave us an insightful presentation. Even as a non-technical person like myself, I've learned a lot from you. I hope the participants enjoyed the presentation as well. So I've summarized some key points from your presentation just now. We're talking about to achieve process optimization through data-driven strategies. We first must acquire good internet connectivity and sufficient computing resources. So right now we are talking about getting our infrastructure ready so that we can start collecting data and get connected. And then you also mentioned about applying lean management principle with data-driven mindset to reduce waste and inefficiency. And the third point is to start digitize processes, because once we digitize, we can then generate data. Data can be generated, data can be aggregated and finally transmitted. And also to use digital sensors to collect data and to start automation. And lastly, of course, to use digital information to help us to speed up decision making. So Dr. Tan, this is what I have summarized. Can you please add on if I have missed out any important point that you want the participants to take?
You got most of the key points. It's good that we recall all these. Yeah, you can recall most of the key points.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we are at the Q&A session. Let me see. I have, while listening to your presentation just now, I personally myself, I have a few questions. You mentioned about lean management is key to process optimization. So I've actually have a lot of clients, SMEs, they will probably start asking questions like, what do we prioritize first? So if the SME or these companies are right now at the early stage of lean management implementation, in order for them to achieve or to go into process optimization activities, where can they start first? How do they identify then the goal for the process optimization?
Yeah, thanks, Lin. The answer would be straightforward. For business owners and SME, the first thing is you don't have to be concerned on how to do or how to choose which project. You go straight to something that you believe impact your revenue, right, your profit. And from there, you identify the ways. That means you yourself set the priority. There is no limitation that the lean cannot apply. As I've shown you, I can even apply to home-based learning. So you can apply to sales, apply to even appraisal of your employees, because you think that is, if your employees are motivated, they work harder and your profit goes up. So even that can be done. You just have to identify, as I've shown you, how to identify your ways inside the whole process and use digital means. So the answer back to everyone is that you are your own boss. You determine which area you want to tackle first and use the lean methods.
Yeah, so meaning that as a business owner or even engineers, they can start the lean by identifying areas which are leading to waste and redundancy, and then from there they will then start the lean the process. Yeah, so the other question you will probably hear very frequent from especially SME, is about data, because you mentioned a lot about the importance of data, using sensor to collect data. So data-driven strategies is about using data to find the best set of input value or parameters that will help us to produce the best quality output eventually. So to improve efficiency or reduce waste. So for SME, if they do not currently have a systematic or even an automated data collection process, what can they do? If they are still collecting data using manual paper, writing down, recording on paper, and then transfer to a spreadsheet, if these are still what the SMEs are doing right now, where can they then start these data-driven strategies, like as you mentioned in your presentation just now?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, the first thing they need to learn is how to create their own database. And that means the data. Maybe I can I show? I'm still showing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Actually, most of the SME or any person, even a primary 4 student can create a digital content. But the difference between a wise and an unwise person is how you store it. You look at all these clothes. This is typical of many cupboards where we keep buying and throwing inside. And when I want to look for my favorite shirt, I cannot find it. When I want to look for my favorite tool set, I cannot find it. But now you look at this. I open up the drawer and I can find my favorite Manchester United shirt, my favorite Barcelona shirt in just one view. So we all know how to create digital content, but you must understand the theory of quick retrieval. All of us, our handphone are almost full of pictures, and we can't even find some pictures. Right? We have to do some, the typical word is called housekeeping. Right? So therefore, step by step, there are certain courses offered for this, but let this be etched in your mind. right? You create digital content, but think of how you store. And how you store is not creating more storage, it is quick retrieval. I can have a small cupboard and I can retrieve. I can have a giant cupboard and I keep all kind of rubbish. You create another giant cupboard and I'll keep more rubbish. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yeah. I think yes. Means we need to start with the data generation process, and then to identify the parameters that we want to measure, and then to automate the collection according to the like you say, easy retrieval. Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Dr. Tan. I have another question from Mr. Chong, MK Chong. He asked, should SME start with data analytics, with big data investment first, or to adopt Lean methodology first in the process and operation? Should SME start with data analytics, with big data investment first, or to adopt Lean methodology first?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chong. I will just invite you to take these steps up the ladder. You just take step by step, and this will tell you, and you will probably realize the benefit faster, right? Make sure you have enough connectivity for your key employees, right? And believe anything can be digitized. Take these simple steps, then reduce waste. So to answer your question, yeah, you have to understand Lean, but Lean is not something too difficult to understand. And then use a data-driven mindset to identify your waste. And then you move this step up, and in the end, you reach here. There's a lot of things that there's no sensor in the market, or the sensors are not reliable. So I can see a lot of people struggling with that if they start. If you start jumping from here, all of us are quite old. If you can make a 5-step jump, you probably break your knee, right? So I invite you to take the steps one by one up.
Okay, Mr. Chong, I hope Dr. Tan has answered your question. Okay, there's another question from Jerry. Do you agree when we talked last year in 2020, when we talked in 2020, people relate it with IT or digital era, and now we have entered this era through force of COVID-19 pandemics and MCO. We have to embrace digital at full force, means home learning, home working, online shopping, and etc. We have to speed up to embrace technology, including for business like hotel, home delivery, self-pickup, and things like this. So COVID-19 and MCO is a turning point to digital era. Do you agree? That is his question.
It's Mr. Jerry, right?
Yeah.
He took the exact words out of my mouth. He took the exact words out. Yeah, he has rephrased the whole thing back to the audience. This is exactly what I'm trying to say. The COVID-19 asks us to wake up. You can reduce waste. The digital is ready. But are you ready for it? Yeah, don't just browse your WhatsApp and listen to normal news or fake news. Take advantage of it. What you just mentioned by and written by Jerry is exactly that. It says you don't have to wait. Take full advantage of it. Yes, correct. You can frame up his saying and put in my slide.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is about who should champion this process optimization project. Can you suggest some key motivators or buy-in tips for the team to be part of this process?
Okay, this question always starts with ourselves. It's almost the same question as at which support or is it a top down? My own experience is that it just starts with you. Even in my own experience in my previous company, I see the inefficiency and I started myself. And eventually I get the recognition from my company and my boss. We don't have to wait. But there are areas, in fact, most of the things, including internet connectivity, I have a lot of teacher friends who are probably inside this call. They acknowledge that there's a lot of interconnectivity problem, but they are not crying over it, right? They are moving. They are looking at the students and they are taking the next step. So even though there are some limitation, but a lot of things are ready. If you look at this screen, they are ready for you. So at your level, even if you are a technician, even if you are a VP, right, you can be hands-on and start to charter and then trickle down. And a technician can trickle up. As we always say, put your comments, but now with this step-by-step approach, you can derive systematically how you want to improve your process and in a fun way.
Yeah, so basically you are talking about the staff themselves. If they have this growth mindset, you should be able to participate in this process optimization projects. But Ms. Koo has a question. She then asked you about what about from the management point of view? How do we do you have any suggestion for key motivators or buy-in tips for the entire team to be more effective? So instead of me or a technician who has that motivation to improve the process, what about the other way around? Can we then, as a manager or leader in the organization, give out or tell the team some motivators or some buy-in tips? What type of buy-in tips that we can then share with the team so that more people will?
I have a very good motivator right now. It has 7 letters. COVID-19, right? COVID-19. So this COVID-19 makes you wake up and see that how people make money in a very strange way. Like Zoom owner has become a billionaire. Right? We are buying things a lot through the online. Those companies that are ready online are taking advantage. Right? So the motivator, there are many motivators. I'm not really a motivator speaker, but COVID-19 has woken us up. Apart from the danger, right? It has waken us up from the digital beauty. I would say a digital beauty. So this will be the only motivator I can give for now.
So meaning to survive, not only on our personal health wise or companies profitability or company survival, COVID-19 is then the natural motivators for the staff or for the employees to do something, to start with the projects. Yeah.
For the company performance, I would say for the whole company performance, bosses are already thinking, I heard many feedback, bosses are already thinking, hey, this is a very efficient way to work. Right? Employees are also thinking, hey, why is my friend able to start a business with this opportunity? Right? People already started thinking a lot of amazing opportunities. Yeah, nobody have to wait for any level. They can start, and very important, I do say, is we still have to have an online collaboration. Eventually, we have to share. One thing about this online, especially in learning, the same with a lot of businesses. You have to embrace the power of sharing. Digital world, once you create, you have to share. You cannot hide it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Tan. One more question from Mr. Teh Wee Tee. What do you think of data storage using local servers and cloud storage providers such as AWS. I guess he's asking about which is better. Is it local servers or use cloud storage provider?
Okay, back in my company, Mr. Tay is they look at latency. If you need the data every 1 minute, every few seconds, it's better to have a local server because your latency, the moment you send a request, a command, and you get it in less than 0.1 millisecond. But if you use Amazon Cloud or any cloud, Google Cloud services, sometimes they have some latency period. But if you only need the data once a day, then the Amazon AWS and the Google Cloud, they are much cost efficient to start off. Then you can slowly add on.
Okay, there's another question from Chi Yen. Dr. Tan, thanks for your presentation and time. As far as I know, Industry 4 is introduced in 2011 in Hannover, Mass. But in your slide of a technological milestone leading to 4th Industrial Revolution, you have indicated that Industry 4 presented in 2013. Can I ask for your kind clarification? To clarify whether it's 2011 or 13.
Sorry, what's the name of the
Yen.
Mission, right? Yeah, Mission. Miss Yen, let me confirm that because I read through, the Germans actually proposed that, like what you say, in 2013. But by the time they presented officially, it was about 2013. I would say you are right, and I'm partially right. But the main thing you can look is the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing moving towards it, and we are all making we are part of the history change. I can check that out again. I look at it a few times, but I'll check that out again.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tan. Okay, we have time for one more question. This is my question. Because I have a lot of SME clients, personally managing a few SME clients. They always ask a question like, what type of skills or competencies that are required for my engineers or technicians to help my company to achieve process optimization? What do I need to equip them with, other than giving them the infrastructure like you mentioned, internet connectivity and computing resources? What type of skills or competencies that they must acquire in order to carry out that project effectively?
Okay, thanks, Ling. So there are three sequence of answers to this question. First, ask them to review this video. Second, lean concepts and what do you call that? The smart factory courses, they are already offered in SHRDC. There are different level. But you can choose according to it. But it's always good to review my package so that you have a simple, clear mindset. Then you go to all those courses, and even how to set a database, how to design a data analytics system. That will be. I believe those courses are also offered in SHRDC.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that's all. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of the program. we'd like to say thanks again to Dr. Tan for his informative and interesting presentation today. Unfortunately, we can't see him live on his webcam, but we hope to have more sessions with you in the future. As to all participants, thank you for your active participation. We hope you enjoy the program. Stay safe and stay healthy. And to all our Muslim friends out there, selamat berpuasa and have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.